Okay, my name is Chris Munns. I'm the chairperson of the Hampton Democrats, and I would like to welcome you to this, the third in our series of virtual town hall meetings with our candidates for state representative. The purpose of these meetings is to give you, the voters, an opportunity to hear from and ask questions of the 5 Democrats who want to represent you in Concord. They are Rennie Cushing, Mike Edgar, Katherine Harake, Tom Lockman, and Elaine Andrews Ahern. We will be holding these sessions every Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. until August 12th. For more information on our candidates, to review recordings of earlier town halls, and to sign up for future meetings, please go to our website at www.hamptonnhddems.org, and please encourage your friends to do so as well. Tonight's town hall meeting will be with Katherine Harake. Katherine Harake is the former Katie Corcoran who grew up in Hampton, where she attended Sacred Heart and HAJH, and is a proud 1990 graduate of Winnacunnet High School. She went on to study business before living and working abroad in the area of international finance, and eventually earned a master's in diplomacy from Norwich University. An independent businesswoman, she established an international coffee trading company with her husband before returning to Hampton to raise her 2 children. She's running for New Hampshire State Representative because she understands which issues are important, and she wants to preserve what we have and wants all of us to thrive. Katherine lives in Hampton on Nathaniel Court. Katherine's enthusiasm is infectious. Despite the challenges COVID-19 has created, Katherine, to her credit, has been making the rounds, meeting with and listening to voters throughout Hampton. She will bring a fresh new perspective to the issues facing Hampton in Concord. Before I hand it over to Katherine, just a few housekeeping items. I'm going to place everyone on mute until Katherine has completed her opening remarks. When she's done, we will open it up for questions. You can ask questions in one of 3 ways. Type your question in the chat box by clicking on chat at the bottom of the screen. I'll read your question out loud. Raise your hand virtually by clicking on the participants at the bottom of the screen and clicking on the raise your hand button. Or raise your hand the old-fashioned way, and I'll do my best to see and recognize you. So without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce my friend and our next state representative, Katherine Harake. Katherine?
Hi, I see some familiar faces. Hi, everybody. I just want to start off by saying that this is really strange, and what we're doing right now isn't normal. It feels really awkward. And it makes me think about how many things aren't normal right now. It's not normal that we're having a Zoom town hall. It's not normal that I have more of these in my house than I have socks. It's not normal that a woman got killed by a shark off the coast of Maine yesterday. It's not normal that it's so hot out. It's not normal that in the past 6 months, $1 trillion worth of corporate bonds were issued while millions of jobs have been lost. It's not normal that I feel so safe in Hampton, yet somebody else might not just because of how they look. It's not normal that we congratulated the governor yesterday for providing $8 million in university scholarships when it costs $100,000 for in-state tuition. It's not normal that we have the highest rate of opioid deaths in the nation, or that only half of people with mental health illnesses get treatment, and that half of women from the ages of 25 to 50 are in the workforce. That's why I'm running. It's not normal now, and it wasn't normal before COVID either. It's not normal to see signs all over Hampton all year long, and for people to be afraid to talk about the issues that impact our lives, for things to become so divisive. I can't just watch the news and accept all this tension around us without doing something. I feel I have to do something, not just pull my hair out. And if I've learned anything in the past 3 years, is that I have as much of a right to run for office as the next person. It wouldn't be normal for someone like me, who has a master's degree in diplomacy, who speaks 3 languages, who worked at investment banks in emerging markets, who is married to an immigrant, to stay home and do nothing. Frankly, not stepping up would feel like negligence. That is why I, Katherine Harake, am running for Hampton State Rep. Why Hampton? I've seen enough and gone to enough places that I don't take Hampton for granted. And I want to protect this town and the people in it. There's the obvious reasons, the beautiful seasons and the beach. But I also like how open-minded people are here. They accept you for who you are, as long as you don't try to influence them. I like that about people. I also find it unique that we don't like others to have power over us, to be deferential, or to owe favors. But when we feel we're among equals, we're the most reliable friends out there. This reflects my values. I cherish freedom, individualism, and I value community. My life experience has given me a unique perspective. I like hard work, I'm loyal, and I care about Hampton. New Hampshire has the world's best motto. We all know, live free or die. But that doesn't mean that New Hampshire is a freedom buffet, where you can just live a life that you want for your selfish needs at the expense of your community. If that's what you do, then you don't reflect my values. I grew up here, and despite a lifetime of adventures and the fact that I like change and trying new things, it was nice that I could always rely on Hampton to be the same, or to at least feel the same to me. But I know that for something to stay the same takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of work for your house to look the same way from when you bought it. It takes a lot to look the same after a certain age. It takes a lot of effort, and it costs a lot of money, like a house or a yard. And for Hampton to develop or improve, it would also take a lot of effort and money. But allowing it to stagnate and decay would cost us even more, because in America, it's very expensive to be poor. Why am I a Democrat? Well, I'm ambitious. I really am. And I think that Democrats are ambitious also. We want a lot. We want people to vote. We want everyone to vote. We want to take care of public employees. We want a good education from pre-K to university. We want healthcare. We want clean water. We want to combat climate change. We want equal rights. We want access to mental health care and addiction treatment. We want to feel like we're part of a community. We want to be valued by who we are, not just how much we're consuming or producing. To get there takes a huge effort. And New Hampshire currently has a huge deficit, and it's getting bigger. So our goals are hard to attain right now. It's been getting bigger ever since the Great Recession. And add to that, we're an aging state. Hampton is aging out. Over the past 10 years, our high school population has decreased almost 20%. This has serious implications for our budget and our future. What can we do about it? Chasing the wealthy for tax doesn't really work, because they always find a way. An income tax probably won't work either, because we already pay among the highest property taxes in the country. And increasing corporate tax probably won't work, because that will put even more downward pressure on wages. So what can we do? We need to expand the tax base, create wealth, in order to create more taxable revenue without taking from the middle class through property taxes. We have to reinvent ourselves. COVID has created a new culture of remote working, and a lot of smart young people have come back home to New Hampshire. And it would be wonderful if we gave them reasons to stay or start their own businesses. We should try to attract entrepreneurs, invite more business stakeholders to the decision-making table to create a more balanced economy that works for small, medium, and large businesses. We need to invest in infrastructure, arts, education, culture, and the environment Why? Why do we need to do this? Because it's good for business. It's good for the community. It's because it's what we want. And that's the point of a democracy, is you should be able to achieve what you want. But most importantly, it's because it's the human thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. I want to end my speech with the same thing I used to tell my children when they started school. Choose your friends. Don't let them choose you. It's the same in politics. Please choose me, or your government will decide what life you lead. I've been reaching out to elected officials, stakeholders, constituents, and voters' constituents to learn about the issues. I know more about business enterprise tax, road usage fees, and paid family leave than I did a year ago. I have a website, a Facebook page, and social media. You can see the links on the group chat. I have 100 signs that I need to distribute throughout Hampton. I have 1,000 walk cards I want Hampton residents to read, and I need help to distribute them. So please reach out to me in chat or social media, and I'll connect with you. And one other important note, please get a flu shot, preferably earlier rather than later. Thank you.
All right, Catherine, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll open it up for some questions now. I'm gonna use my my executive authority here to ask the first question. It's a question that I have. One of the things that the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed are some of the economic injustices and inequities that have allowed us to exist, that we have allowed to exist for way too long. One of those is the fact that the minimum wage doesn't even come close to providing people with a living wage. What are your thoughts on that, and what will you support when you were elected?
Well, when we talk about minimum wage in New Hampshire, I hear the term natural market forces come up. And that's a great argument in the right context. But it's under a false assumption. I mean, in theory, if there were zero interference in markets, prices would be fair, wages would be fair, and we'd all get what we want. And I think I don't have to sit here and explain to you that it's obvious that's not true. Otherwise, we'd be paying the same price for medicine all over the world, and we'd have more option for internet and utilities. So my answer to your question, Chris, is that in theory, we shouldn't touch minimum wage, but in reality, we need to.
Okay. Are there other questions? Wave your hand if you have a question.
Hi, Gary. But you have to unmute him.
Do I have to unmute Gary?
Yes, please.
Okay. Hold on, Gary. Let me find Gary. There we go. No, where is he? There we go. Okay.
All right, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yep, go ahead, Gary.
Okay, I'm co-chair of the senior caucus of the Hampshire Democratic Party. And sometimes when I speak to a mixed group of people, I say, New Hampshire is the second oldest state, and I say, and it is aging faster than any other state. And then the audience groans. Well, you know, as part of an economic mix, there are some states like Florida and Arizona that benefit from the presence of older folks. And here in New Hampshire, a lot of people who are affluent move here because they hear there are low taxes. So with people here, by and large, older people are self-supported. They're not a drain on the budget. So when you think about the economy, please don't leave out older people, because they are part of it and they can act as a stimulant rather than as a drag on the economy. That wasn't a question, that was a speech.
Gary, you are never a drag on anybody. So, and I think if more seniors were involved like you and offered their wisdom, I can't even imagine the amazing things that would happen in New Hampshire. So I think that you should put a fire under some of these people and tell them we need them. We need their wisdom and their advice and their help.
Thank you.
Molly, did you have a question for Catherine?
Yes, I wanted to know what she has in mind for New Hampshire working moms. What can you do, or what can you
Right.
expect for families?
I hate to say this, but to be blunt, I think working moms are screwed. I mean, that's really what I've heard. And that's probably the truth, especially in the immediate short term. I'll make another economic comparison, but I really believe in the theory of comparative advantage. And what I mean by that is we have parents in this economy who can contribute, and we have educators in this state that can contribute to society. And if we can match that, and just people like Gary, if we have seniors with their advantages, if they're allowed to contribute and encouraged, then New Hampshire would be better off. In the short term, as I'm running for state rep and I'm educating myself, it's really encouraging to see how many advocacy groups there are out there. We're a very political state. And just off the top of my head, I think I saw over the past week a group called the New Hampshire Women's Foundation, and I think a campaign for better family, working families, something like that. So short term, it's going to be tough, but we have to keep fighting for working parents' rights and education and daycare for children.
Thank you.
Mary McCarthy, did you have a question?
Yeah, hi, Catherine.
Hi, Mary.
Do you think that Hampton's getting its fair share of revenues that the state's able to raise at the beach? And if not, what do you think we could do to change that? What could be done?
Right. Well, I thought about this a lot because I knew I was going to be asked this, and it's one of the few topics that comes up a lot in Hampton by constituents on both sides. And I feel like this might be a little radical, but my instinct is, you know, if the state park is as profitable, if the state beach is as profitable as the town, insists, then we should try to get the deed back. And if the state thinks the state park is such a burden to them, then maybe they should deed it back to us. If I could wave a magic wand, I'd like to see that happen. But I don't think we can get the beach back to Hampton, and I don't think that seems feasible, at least not right now. However, I do know that the town has filed 2 lawsuits against the state, claiming they deserve more funds, and the state quite expeditiously dismissed those lawsuits with lack of proper evidence. It's a lot more complicated. It's not complicated, but it takes work, Mary, meaning we need forensic accounting to look at the cost over at least the past 20 years, the cost to the town, the extra burden that's put on us versus the extra tax revenue. Then someone like me, who's in the Concord, has to scrutinize the finance and the budget of the state parks. And why did it cost $14.5 million to redevelop the beach? How much is it costing to fix the seawalls, and examine those a little bit further. So I think it's about maybe just paying attention to the numbers and trying to really see what's going on behind them.
It wouldn't be one of these town halls without a question from Sonny Kravitz. So Sonny, I'm just assuming that you might have a question. Am I correct? Sonny? Okay, maybe not. Maybe I was wrong. Sonny? Does somebody else have a question? Erica, do you want to ask a question?
Yes, thank you. Hey, Catherine.
Hi, Erica.
You were speaking to women's issues earlier, and I'm curious what your stance is. There are a lot of groups who are trying to chip away at a woman's right to choose, and I'd love to hear your position on abortion rights and healthcare.
Yes. Well, I'm a little bit perplexed why it's such a hot topic, because nationwide abortion has gone down significantly because of access to birth control and the morning after pill. So that's changed. Secondly, young people and people in general aren't even having as much sex as they used to. So I'm sorry to be blunt about it, but really we should be trying to figure out how to increase the population via other means. Meaning, why aren't people having children? Why are people preferring to choose an abortion rather than to have that child? What is wrong with our system and our economy and our structure that someone's faced with that choice? Those are the questions I want to pose the state and the government. And that's probably how I would respond to them. So to be brief, Erica, yes, of course, I support the right to choose, but I believe in procreation, not pro-life. That means creating wealth and creating opportunity for everybody.
Okay, Quinn, you have a question.
I do. Hi, Mrs. Haraki. During my time organizing in New Hampshire, I did a lot of work with individuals who were parents or working class or a little bit older, but I had minimal interactions with individuals who were in high school or younger than that. And you do have groups such as the New Hampshire Youth Democrats and the New Hampshire Youth Movement Group that are active, but for such a politically active state where politics kind of run through its veins, I would think I would have at least had a little more kids that were interested in it, or a little more interest from younger individuals. So I was wondering if you plan on partnering with the New Hampshire Youth Democrats or working with them, or if you have any plans to compel the youth to get involved in politics in New Hampshire.
I'd love to have them get more involved. I'm trying to put myself out there and to share my voice, and I think it's the youth. They're the ones with the energy, and they're the ones that can handle 20 social media accounts at once. So it's more likely that they're gonna see me than me be able to find them.
Sure.
So if you can help me in how I can attract them, how can I make myself more interesting for them? What issues? I know that they care about the environment, and I know they care about mental health, and probably gun safety as well. So maybe if I talk about those issues more, I could get more support from New Hampshire Democrats. But I'd love some advice from New Hampshire young Democrats who vote.
Well, I'd be happy to help you with that. So we can figure
Thanks,
that out.
Glenn.
Sonny, we'll give you another chance.
Yeah, I was wondering, that Trump wants the schools open. It seems to be crazy to open them if you got the virus running wild. Why not run the schools with a Zoom type program? Most of the kids have Chromebooks. What would you suggest?
If I understand the question, he's asking what do I suggest about school opening, correct?
Yeah, Trump says he wants the schools open. If you open them with the virus running wild, it's crazy. I suggest that you open the schools online through a Zoom program or something similar and hold the classes. What do you think?
I think that your concern is very valid considering how contagious this is. And I don't even really listen to what the president says, so I'm not going to respond to that. I stopped listening kind of a while ago. But as far as what our schools should do, we actually have really competent people in the administration, and I have talked to them, and they are really working together with other school districts, with the Department of Education, and they're even looking at models being done globally. So I'm pretty confident that they're going to make the right decision, whatever it is to open, if they do open. And if it happens that they need to close again, or they need to do something, a hybrid version, I do trust their decision. But it shouldn't be this hard. I agree with you. We shouldn't have to reinvent the wheel one town at a time. It's exhausting, and it's a waste of our energy and resources.
Catherine, in my opening, in my introduction to you, I mentioned that, you know, you've been going around talking to different people, and again, I think that's a real credit to you. What are you hearing from people? I mean, what are they talking to you about as the top issues that are on their mind?
It really ranges from, I don't know what the big deal is, everything's great, to, oh my God, it's the end of the world. You know, so it's quite a spectrum in terms of their overall political attitude. In terms of issues, it's definitely education, healthcare, younger people, younger meaning people in their 20s and 30s, it's mental health. But I think education is coming first every time, and environment and climate change second.
Okay. All right, great.
Oh, what I can add to that, Chris, though, I have, and I mentioned that in my speech, I think that people here, we are relatively conflict avoidant. We don't like conflict, but we respect neighbors and we help each other out in an emergency. And I really think that it really seems that this political divisiveness and these year-round signs, it's just raising the tension level in town and making people uncomfortable on both sides. I think by nature we're more of a moderate type of community in terms of and a pragmatic community in terms of our approach to things. So, you know, we can't be moderate about everything, and I have personally no problem with signs, but that's the reaction I'm hearing from the public.
Okay. Is there anyone else that wants to ask a question? You know, I'm looking to see if
Neil has a question. Our Hampton's Dr. Fauci right here. Neil Raven.
Okay, hold on. Let me unmute you. Okay, Neil.
Oh, he's not muted.
There we go.
Okay. Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are now. Yes.
I discovered after our last unsuccessful muting or unmuting for me that I actually have a microphone on my desk, which I never really noticed before. That's why I was muted. So, Catherine, that answer to the minimum wage question, I think kind of exemplifies what I really like about your candidacy. That was about the most erudite answer to a standard question I've ever heard. I think I learned something. I'm not sure what it was, but it had to do with there are market forces at play that I think I never appreciated.
Well, I can add to that, Neil. I can add to that. It's like thinking there's natural market forces for things in New Hampshire. It's like thinking that you've got a chance to win at a casino. I mean, the house always wins.
Yeah.
No, there's a reason why New Hampshire has chosen Keno to pay for kindergarten and not blackjack. And that's all I have to say about that.
All right, but you know this question was coming. And that is that, as you and I have discussed, there is a difference between being infected with a virus and being infectious with the virus.
Yes.
And in that difference, if it's true, there may lie the answer to how to open schools, at least in New Hampshire. And I don't know if you wanted to touch on that or what, but I'm not sure that everyone here is familiar with this literature.
Well, Neil, you shared it with me, and I would be really grateful if you put in the chat a link to that, or if not, if you have access to it. But he's right that to control the curve and to keep the children in school, if we can just reduce infectious people or stop infectious people from going to school, even a not very accurate test could really keep the curve low, from my understanding. And it doesn't, it's not prohibitively expensive as well. Probably institutions, I'm just assuming a school in the Boston area that's pro-science and has a big budget would jump on these type of testing, and a more progressive community would also. I think, you know, if I stick around some more, hopefully we'll get there, that we won't have to battle for the community to be open to progressive ideas like this.
Thanks.
Other questions? You know, raise your hand or, you know, wave at me online. I'll try to call on you. Anybody? Okay. Oh, wait a minute.
One more. This is fun.
Was that Sunny?
Gary.
Gary. Gary, okay, hold on. Gary, go ahead. Gary?
Oh, he's on mute.
No. All right. Well, Gary, your time's
Okay.
Gary.
Okay. I'm cheating because this is a comment, not a question. And my daughter-in-law is a teacher, and she's a very dedicated teacher, elementary school. And I asked her how distance learning went, and she said it was exhausting. It was just awful. And I asked why, and she said, well, some of the families, the kids and the parents don't do what they're supposed to do. And in other families, the parents are saying, come on, speed it up. We need more. You're not going fast enough. If you had something like a hybrid system, at least once a week, you can get together with the student in person and see exactly what's going on and correct it. You can straighten it away before it keeps drifting in the wrong direction. And it kind of halfway minimizes risk, but it does allow you to have some personal interaction. So it's just kind of a plug for a hybrid system rather than total distance learning or total person to person.
But Gary's right. And, you know, children need to feel like they're part of a community. This is proof of it. It's all part of community values. Mental health is part of it. And if kindergarteners need that, guess what? I need it. Gary needs it. We all need it. So community is just as important as freedom and individualism. So I think we can take that away from this time.
I'll stay in the house all year.
Mike
The
Edgar.
phone never stops, though.
That's right.
Mike Edgar, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a quick question of Catherine. I was wondering, have you thought much about which of the committees that you'd like to be on, and what would the reason for those choices be?
I'm thinking about it. I looked at them, and I think it's, well, Chris, Mike, what do you think? Do you have an idea what committee you think I'd be good on? Any suggestions?
Yeah, I'm trying to, okay, just unmuted myself again. Well, I thought for a couple of reasons it would be great for you to consider the same one that Pat has been on, has worked so hard on, and you could take up the mantle because it also ties into one of the things that you mentioned about the money aspect of the beach and whether the town should be getting more money out of it. And that would be on the resources committee, so that you would actually have the beach is part of your main turf. That's one of the things, places I thought you'd be excellent at.
Thanks. I'll definitely consider it. I really haven't given too much thought yet because I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I'll definitely think about my options.
Important to get elected first.
Well, if I can comment though, it can be part of your spiel as you're going through and part of your the program and your discussion with people that you have thought about some of these things, especially ones that would benefit Hampton.
That's true.
You're going to be getting voted on by the Hampton people.
That's true. No, you make a really good point.
Okay, I don't see that there's any other questions. Catherine, any final words of wisdom that you want to share with folks?
No words of wisdom. Just please get my name out there, take some of my signs, and let's win this from the bottom all the way up.
Okay,
I
great.
think
So I want to
Oh,
thank.
someone said something.
Oh,
I think Sunny was waving earlier.
Oh.
Did you want to say something?
Sonny?
Yeah, I got a quick question.
Sure.
400 people or more than 400 legislatures. There's no staff. What do you want to accomplish in the legislature? What's your goal?
Did you say what I want to accomplish if I go to Concord? Is that what you're asking?
Yep.
Now, if I give you a list of what I want to accomplish, it would really show my naivete, because I know that things can move at a glacial pace in Concord. And the most I can hope to do is to provide a little energy to the room, to get people in Hampton energized and more involved. And I don't want people to be afraid to talk about politics. These issues affect our lives, and we should be talking about it at the dinner table. We should be talking about it in the parks and on the beach. And if I can accomplish that, I would consider it a success.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you, Catherine, for your time and for running. I also want to just recognize two of our state representatives, Mike Edgar and Rennie Cushing, who have served Hampton and are running for re-election. So thank you very much to them. And I want to give a quick shout out to two individuals who are on this call who are running for the Executive Council. State Representative Patty Lovejoy is with us, and also Mindy Messmer. And it's important that we elect a Democratic woman as executive counselor for this area, and we wish both of them well in the upcoming state primary. So that wraps up the third in our series of town hall meetings. Our next one will be on Wednesday, August 5th, next Wednesday at 7 p.m. with State Representative Tom Lockman. To sign up, please go to our website, www.hamptonnhdems.org. Please also encourage your friends and family to go there as well to view recordings of this and our two earlier town hall meetings with Representatives Cushing and Edgar. And also sign up for future town hall meetings. And there's also very important information there about how to vote during this COVID-19 pandemic, as well as a way that you can request lawn signs if you're interested in showing your support for any one of the Democratic candidates that's running this fall. So again, Catherine, thank you very much. And
thank you for giving them this platform. This is really exciting.
Thank you everyone for participating this evening, and hopefully we'll see you next week again. Thank you.